All right, guys. Hey, thank you for joining. For all of you guys that are leaning in and watching this at 7 a.m. Monday morning, thank you for joining. Appreciate you guys coming on board here. And I'm thankful that you take advantage of this, because my goal is to do whatever I can to provide as much value to you as possible. And today we've got a good group in the meeting location. And so we really have a great classroom edition to bring to you live that you guys are able to witness this morning. And so really what I want to get into today is in-home objections. And so when we break down this business, we kind of simply say it's leads, phones, and in-home, right? We've kind of got into a lot of those segments over the last, several months in this classroom edition, but I really want to camp out on in-home objections, because the thing is this: if you can get better with overcoming an objection, connecting with the client, going through the value, the why, and then going back to where you're trying to take them, which is the close, and you could increase your close ratio by, say, 10 or 20% a month, that's significant profitability. And so if you're going to go out there and right now you're writing and you take a look at how many clients you're sitting with, how many you close, and if you're sitting with, say, 20 and you close 10, if you could close 3 more, that's $3,000 in additional income. Now, let me just preface it with this. If you're listening to this and you're like, you know what, I knew it. My close ratio is terrible. That's why I'm failing. My question first is, how many appointments are you booking? Because if you're saying, Paul, I book 5 a week and I ain't selling nothing. It's like, book more than 5 a week. Like, you're not taking enough shots. So the first thing I always ask is, when somebody's struggling with their goals, is not what the close ratio is, it's how many appointments are you booking, right? Now, if you're booking 30 appointments a week, you're sitting with 20 and you're closing 5, we got some work to have, right? We got some work. And so that's what we want to do, is increase the close ratio. But I don't want you to so focus on this and think this is the route to how you can solve all your problems and get this thing in the right direction if it's not working. First, go back to how many appointments are you booking every single week. And if you've got enough, then let's start getting into really kind of tweaking and adjusting and finding out how to elevate your game with these in-home objections that you receive each and every week. So what I want to do first, before we get into in-home objections, is I want to kind of talk to you about how to overcome every objection before you get the objection. So my goal in this business was, to be proactive, where I would overcome things before I got them. I didn't want to have to just continuously be overcoming objections or solving problems. I wanted to kind of mitigate those before they came up by my setting up of the stage, so to speak. And so in the home, there's certain things that you can do to overcome objections before you get them. And I'm going to give you a couple that I think will help you really well. So the first thing is being assumptive, all right? So if you assume when you walk in that the sale's already done, you're less likely to get objections. Clients are going to basically follow suit with you based off of your assertiveness and assumptiveness. So if you're assumptive when you get into the client's house and you just say things like, Bob, Mary, listen, I know how important this was for you. Now, they didn't tell me how important it was, but I say that repeatedly throughout the entire process. Like, Bob, Mary, I know how important this is for you guys. Most clients I sit with in your situation, guys, they feel this way just like you. They want to make sure if they die, their family doesn't go through that financial hardship and struggle. They want the peace of mind knowing that if they're not here, they know that their spouse and kids, they're not going to be financially destitute. They're going to be okay. There's not going to be a financial devastation. And so I say things like that. That's assumptiveness. I'm not asking all the time. I'm just assuming, right? I could say things like, Chase, most clients I sit with, basically what they're looking at when they send back this request is one of 3 things. One, they want to make sure that if they die, that there's no final expense burden. Because the thing is this, Chase, most of the time when somebody passes away, they go through the same process. The first thing is like, oh my God, I just lost my spouse. And trying to go through that and how hard and difficult that is. And then the second thing is, well, how do I cover the expenses? What are we going to do? And so most clients I sit with, Chase, what they're looking for is to make sure that there's a plan in place so when they die, they can grieve, mourn, and get through that first week without having to struggle and worry about a GoFundMe or raising money or taking money out of their account that they're going to need to use for income replacement. The second thing, Chase, is they're looking for income replacement. They say, Paul, if I don't wake up tomorrow, when that happens, when I don't come home, or if I get in a car accident, somebody wrecks into me driving on the road, and my wife gets a knock on the door from an officer, and she gets the news, she's not thinking like, oh my God, how do I wake up, go downstairs, and go through my routines every day without the person that's been a part of every part of that routine, and how hard that is to handle. And then they're thinking, well, now how do I also replace that income? How do I pay the bills? So Chase, a lot of clients are looking to replace that income for a block of time. And the third thing is, to basically just leave a legacy. So when they pass away, whether that's kids, college, different things like that, to set their family up better than they could have set up. Now for you, because every situation is a little different, but most clients, it's one of those three things or multiple of those three. What was most important to you? So what I'm doing is I'm basically being assertive and assumptive that it's one of these three things, opposed to, hey Chase, why'd you fill this out? Well, now you can say whatever. I've just asked an open-ended question, and if I'm going to be as effective as possible, the questions I ask, I have to know that I'm going to get the answer I desire, so I can lead, guide, and direct him in the right direction. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to assume the answer that's going to help make him choose right, which is choosing to protect his family. Does that make sense? And so some of that stuff's in the setup. Also, the other thing is this. Very important when you say, listen, Chase, just so you know who I am, I'm a field underwriter. And so unlike a captive sales rep, I look at all the different guidelines and all different carriers to really figure out how to best help you, because every situation is really unique and different. And so we've had many clients today where if they had cancer, maybe AIG was good. If they had diabetes based on age, maybe Mutual of Omaha. Maybe it was Foresters, maybe it was America. We had some clients where based off their age, Aetna was a good fit. And so I've helped clients with every different product today. And so it's just really dependent on your situation. So my job as a field underwriter is to find out what you can qualify for at the best price possible for you and your family. Does that make sense? So I do that because that sets me up to overcome proactively, or I guess not even get the I want to shop around, right? So that kind of stuff. And then even in the process, when I say stuff like, Chase, now listen, we can't make a decision today, but once we find a plan that's going to be a good fit, what we're going to do is going to be sending in a request, see if they come back and underwrite it with a yes answer. We got to hope to God that they do. If they don't, it's not a big deal. We'll look at a different option, and Carrie, you got my word, because I know how important this is for your family, that I'm going to find a plan that will qualify you guys and get a yes. So once that process takes place and we do get a yes, we'll have 30 days to go up or down, adjust, and change the plan. Does that make sense, Chase? So I'm doing that process because what does that do? That proactively helps me overcome, I want to think about it. Because I'm like, dude, we don't make a decision today. There's a process still. Let me tell you what the process looks like. And the last thing proactively that I think is important to say to kind of set the stage so you get less of the objection that we will talk about and how to overcome that is at the very end, the close is important. I've had agents that are like, man, I had the client crying. Like, they're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming out. They're hugging each other. I'm like, this is done, a done deal. And then they get to think about it. When I said, what did you say at the end? They said, I just asked them, like, do you want to, start the application process now? And that question is not assumptive at all. That question evokes sales pressure, right? And if you don't think about this. Most of the time, when you say I want to think about it, it's a knee-jerk reaction. It's just something that, we do. If you don't think I'm right, think about last time you went to the fair, home show, wherever, and you're like, I know I need this, and then they go for the sale and they don't ask it the right way. No, well, I need to think about it. You don't need to think about it. You know you want it. But the way they did it will cause your response. The way they packaged it will cause that response. And so at the end, the close is important, right? It's, hey, Martin, listen, we can't make a decision today because we don't know if it's going to qualify or not. But if it were to qualify, which one of these options based off protection we talked about and premium do you think would be the best bet and best fit for you and your family? Well, that one. Perfect. We'll see if we get you qualified there. Hope that it does. Grab your driver's license. We'll see if we'll get you qualified. And that's the assumptive close, right? Now, if you're assumptive in the beginning, in the end when you're assumptive like that, it's fine. But if in the beginning, you're like, if you wouldn't mind, if it's okay, if you're tiptoeing, if you're acting like you're not the doctor and they're the patient, and you're not assumptive, right? When you get to the end, it's going to creep them out. Think about, whoa, But if you're assumptive through the whole setup, it'll be fine. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's kind of laying the groundwork to try to help mitigate the objections that you can get in the end. So now let's just say Well, let's do this, guys. I want to kind of hear from you. What objections are most common, or the ones that you get, and you're like, this is messing me up. Nathan?
One for sure is that the client doesn't completely understand in order to even get a hypothetical yes or no in underwriting, you have to put in that banking information to even submit it.
So is the objection, I don't want to give you the banking information?
Yeah, so
Well, I'll help you how to get around it, bro. So is the objection, how do I didn't know if I could, do I have to give you my banking information?
I'll think about it based on that thing.
Thinking about it? Okay. So let's do this. I'm gonna dive into the think about it objection. Is that an objection that kind of like messes you guys up? For me, I hated it. When I first got started, the think about it objection made me want to fight. I was like angry. I was like, what'd you just say? What do you mean? You don't care about her? So you don't care about her now? You want to think about protecting her or him? Like I hated it. You know what I mean? But then I kind of figured out a way to kind of to best go through that from a lot of getting the think about it and not being effective, you know? And so this is the one thing I could tell you guys when it comes to think about objection. As I go into that, I don't look at it like I'm trying to overcome it so I can make a sale. Before it was about me. So when they would give that, I was like, shoot, I thought about had this, locked down. I thought it was a done deal. And now I'm going to lose that 1,500 AP or that 2,000 AP that I'm showing them. So it was about me. And when I came across like that, I would get clients saying like, listen, with all due respect, we feel like we're being pressured. We're good. And so it came across as pressure because I was kind of like being defensive, trying to save something. When it changed was when I thought like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me if they get this. Yes, I might lose, but that's so insignificant to what they're going to lose as far as the importance of this protection. Like if they don't come home, their family's not going to have anything and they could lose everything. And the way their kids turn out could be because of this. Like this is detrimental for them to get. Like it's so important, right? So when I had that kind of perspective, then it wasn't like, I didn't feel like I was getting pushed up against the wall and I was like, hopefully it was, okay, I'm gonna slow down and I'm gonna help fix this, give them clarity, re-articulate the value and the why, and move forward to get them to make the right choice. Because if they wanna think about it, it's either because you weren't assumptive or because you didn't build enough value, right? Maybe you did the financial inventory and you didn't ask the questions like, well, Bob, if you don't come home tomorrow, the income goes from $8,000 to $4,000. Mary, what does that look like for you? Like, how do you take care of everything? Maybe you didn't do that, and stop in silence and let silence do its work. Because the financial inventory paints a picture that they have not yet looked at. They know they probably need it conceptually, but usually most clients don't sit down, break down everything, and get a realistic look of what's going to happen when they die. They just don't do that. So they've now seen it because you've asked the questions, they see the picture. But a lot of times you'll get to think about it as well if you don't ask the questions that get them to live in that picture. When you could take something that's not tangible, like life insurance, they can't touch it, but make it as tangible as possible by showing the picture, asking questions, and letting them live in the picture, that's how you do away with the think about it objection at a very high level. Because people don't know the difference between what you experience and what you imagine. So if you do a good job painting the picture and then asking the right questions, like, what are you going to do? What does that look like? What would happen? Would you have to sell the house? Would you lose the house? If you don't ask those questions, they're not able to actually live in the picture you've forecasted in the future. And if they're not living in it, they're not going to be moved by it. But if I can get them living in that picture by those questions and in silence and let them feel it, well, they're experiencing something that yet hasn't happened, but they're able to make now the right choice to ensure that that doesn't happen. Does that make sense? So to think about it, the first thing is this, is I'll say, so Martin, listen, as far as so let's just say you say, Paul, I want to think about it. I'll say, Martin, no big deal. Now, I definitely understand. As far as the plans, which one do you think would make the most sense while they're trying to qualify? Well, I think that one. Okay, perfect. We'll see if we get you qualified there. And while they're thinking about it, we could always adjust it. Go ahead and grab your driver's license. I do just like that. So I give it no merit. And what I found is this. Most of the time, the client is like, they get up, they get their driver's license. Well, why? Because they're thinking about it was just a knee-jerk reaction. They just felt like they had to say it. Before I got there, maybe they got together like, hey, listen, game plan. I don't care how good he is. I don't care what he says. We're thinking about this, right? And so then I get to the end, they know they don't want to think about it, but they look at each other like, we got to think about it. Okay, perfect. All right, no big deal. While you're thinking about it, because I definitely understand, they still have to think about qualifying. Which one of these do you think would make the most sense? And he said this one. Okay, great. Grab your driver's license and see if you get qualified. That alone, you'll overcome it most of the time. So you don't want to give it any kind of merit, right? It's just like your kids. Think about like, your kids, if they're like, I ain't taking a shower tonight. You don't like explain like hygiene to them. You're like, go get in the shower. Like, what are we talking about? Like, you don't, but sometimes we spend so much time like, oh, now we got to explain everything in great detail that we actually make the objection. We create it. It wasn't even an objection. It was almost like a complaint. Like, can we think about it? But you created the objection by spending so much time on it. So the first step is this, and I'm going to give you multiple steps, is don't give it any merit. So that's step one, right? Step two, so if they still hit you with it, right? They say, no, Paul, listen, you don't understand. We don't make any decisions. We really like you. You're a great guy. Your family's great. You're a great guy. We just don't make any decisions. I say, perfect, Chase. I understand 100%. And I agree with you 100%. Now, as far as the protection that we're looking at right now, Chase, I know how important this is for you, looking at your situation, what's in place, what's going to happen when something happens. I get how important it is. Now, right now, the process is pretty simple. All we could do is just see if we actually could get you qualified. And I know the hope is to get you qualified, so I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But if they do say yes, we could always tweak it up and tweak it down, adjust it. But I know at the end of the day, Chase, looking at the situation, that you're going to feel a lot better having this in place for your family, and it's that important to you. And Mary, you're going to feel a lot more valued and important as well, and peace of mind knowing that this is in place as well. And so before we get ahead of ourselves, let's see if we get you qualified. We could always tweak and adjust it. And I'm sure that will make sense to you guys, right? And I do that, and I'm assumptive. So that's the second thing. So I go a little bit more. I go back to the process. I go back to the value by saying, I know what's going to happen when something happens to you, what that's going to look like. I know it'll make a big difference. I know it's a peace of mind that you guys want. And my job is to help you with that as a field underwriter. And my hope is that we get a yes on qualifying. But we can still tweak and adjust it. So we're getting ahead of ourselves. But we definitely have time to adjust, tweak, or what have you. But grab your driver's license. I'm sure that makes sense to you. And I just bob my head, and they go. So again, you have to package every time you go back to it. So it's relating to them, 100% agree, back to the value, the why, and then back to the direction, which is go get your driver's license. And it has to be assumptive every time. You don't say, does that make sense, and pause. Because then they're going to hit you with something different. You're supposed to lead, guide, and direct. Whoever asks the most questions is in control. You should be asking all the questions. Does that make sense? All right. So the next one is this. Let's just say they say, well, Paul, listen, I hear you, but we've never made decisions the first time. What we like to do is kind of get together afterwards and we talk about it, and then we come up with an answer. We'll call you back. Just give us some cards and we'll definitely get back to you. I say, perfect, guys. Guys, like I said, I really do agree 100%. And I feel the exact same way. And most clients I sit with, I found that they feel that way as well. And so most people, when they look at qualifying for the protection, they look at it about 2 to 3 days, 2 to 3 weeks is kind of enough time for them to figure it all out. For you, do you think in 2 to 3 weeks that'd be enough time to kind of think about it, or would you need like 3 to 4 months? Now they're going to say what? 2 to 3 weeks. There's plenty of time. I say perfect. Now Chase, most clients in that 2 to 3 weeks, they kind of are like revisiting, going through the same kind of questions as far as to answer to make sure it's a good fit for them. Do you mind if we go through those 3 questions real quick? Okay, perfect. So the first one is this really important to me? Like, is this something that is important? And for you, Chase, looking at the situation and what's in place, and I know you sent back the request, I'm here for a reason, but do you feel like this is important for you and your family? They're going to say yes 100% of the time. So the second thing is this, to make sure that's affordable, Chase, because like I said before, the only plan that makes sense is the one that's there when you die, and the one that's there when you die is going to be the one that you can afford until that happens. And I don't want you to be the client that calls up your spouse, and I look at, say it's Mary, I look at Mary and say, Mary, I don't want you to be the person that calls up my office and says, Chase is no longer here, and you're crying hysterically, because we get these calls every week, and I have to look up the policy and say, I'm so sorry. Chase called in a month ago, and he stopped the plan because the budget was tight. Because I literally get ill when that has to happen. So we want to make sure it's affordable, because this is the most important thing. In that time, when everything's chaotic and the emotions and the grieving is there, this is really only the one of the only sources of security that you could, that your spouse will feel like, Mary, you say, at least I'm going to be okay right now in this season. At least financially, I'll be all right. So Chase, is this something that you guys can afford? Now, as you guys can see, I'm going back to the value as I'm asking that question. It's just not, hey, is it important? Oh, yes, good. Is it affordable? Yeah, okay, cool. I'm driving depth behind it. I'm getting deep with the value again, because again, if I want to overcome to think about it, I've got to have urgency and value. Urgency and value. It's got to be urgent, like you could pass tomorrow, and the value's got to be elevated. Now, the third thing is this, Chase, is to make sure that you guys want me to be the person to help you, because you might be the person that says, Paul, I just don't like you, and I'm okay with that. Now, I like you, and I'll still like you, but if you're like, I just don't like you, Paul, I want somebody else to help me, I'm okay with that. I'll have somebody else help you, because it ain't about me. I just feel done right. I'm not a sales rep. I have somebody else help. Do you guys like me, or you don't like me? You sure? You good? And I'll do that. And they'll say, yeah, no, I like you. I said, perfect. I said, Chase, listen, those are the 3 things that about everybody goes through in those 2-week process. And it sounds like, you know, you have the answers to those as far as it making the most sense. And I agree with you how important it is. And I do agree with all those 3 answers that you guys put as well. And so right now, what we got to do is just wait that 30 days for them to qualify it, and then for you guys to tweak and adjust, because they might take about a week to get the policy to us, and then we'll have 30 days to adjust it up or down. But it definitely sounds like this is the right fit for you guys. So grab your driver's license. We'll see if we get you qualified. Okay. Now you can say, what if he says, like, he wants to think about it again? Oh, I got another one. I got another one. I got another one. So my other one would be, Chase, if he says, you know, Paul, listen, I understand, man. We just can't. We really can't, man. You're going to have to call us back next week. We just can't. I said, Chase, listen, man, I get it. But let me ask you this, because I do understand 100%. Like I said, I've done this. I'm field underwriter. I sit with clients all day long. I get it probably more than anybody else. Do you mind if I'm honest with you? I know in the beginning you said that it was okay if I was honest with you. Is it okay if I'm still like honest with you right now? He's going to say yes. I'll say, listen, man, I've done this quite a while, and looking at your situation, I know how important it is for you. I know that if you don't come home, what it's going to look like for your spouse. I know it's going to look like for the kids. And Chase, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me. Like, if I don't come home driving back to my house tonight, my kids, my son, my daughters, my wife, we're fine. They're going to be fine. They're going to be okay. But you guys are not. So it doesn't make a difference to me. Now, I am very good at what I do because I truly care about people. I really do. I'm very passionate about this because I've delivered death claims. And so I'm good at my job because of that. And I just don't feel comfortable leaving knowing that if you don't come home, what it's going to look like for your spouse. And Chase, listen, I can't convince you that you're going to enjoy making this premium every month, but you can't convince me that your family is not the most important thing to you. You just can't. And so I think you'd agree that this just makes sense that we just have to have that in place. And so the next step is just to see if you qualify, which is really no big deal. And we don't even know that they will. So I'm sure you'd agree, Chase, this does make sense to put in place. And Mary, I'm sure you'd agree that it'd feel great to know that it's going in that direction to have that peace of mind. Wouldn't you agree? She says yes. Say, great. Well, just grab your driver's license. We'll see if you get qualified, right? So I think it's like the 4th one, right? What if they say it again? They said, no, we hear you. We can't. We're not going to make a decision. I got another one. I got another one. And you think I'm kidding? I'm not. I'm dead serious. And by the way, because like I said in the beginning, I'm so passionate about this. Like, it's really about them, not me. I never get them to say, this is way too much pressure. Never. I never got that when I made that switch. They knew I deeply cared about them, and I was in their best. I was talking for the best interest. And I was really convinced because I have delivered death claims. I have talked to people who delivered death claims, but also before I get out of my car, I convinced myself that what if I knew that client wasn't going to come home tomorrow? And I knew for a fact that God spoke to me and said, they're not going to come home tomorrow. Well, then would I get up after the second time they gave me to think about it? Would I get up after the fourth? No, I would never get up. He'd have to hog tie me and throw me out the door because that's on me. I'm called. My job is to tell them the truth, to be bold, direct, and package it in love and get them a plan. That's my job. So no, I got another one. My other one's this. I do this. I said, now listen, I'll draw three pictures, and we'll put this on the screen for you guys so you could see it. And I'm gonna focus on drawing them a little bit neater so you don't judge me, because then I'll lose all credibility. Like, he draws like a 3-year-old that got held back 2 years in school. So I draw like stick figure people, because I could do that, a house and a car. And I said, so they gave me the objection, and we don't think about this. I said, Chase, let me just draw this out for you so it gives you a visual, because I agree 100%, but I want to put this into context, and I think this will definitely help. In fact, a lot of clients I sit with that I draw this out, it does make a lot of sense. And so we got the house, the car, and the family. Chase, when it comes to insurance, like your house, you know, you have homeowners insurance, right? Because if something happens, you want to be protected. You have auto insurance because you want to protect it. Let me ask you this, Chase. On this page, can you tell me, like, what of the three, which is the third most important, like the least? They typically pick the car. What's the second? He'll pick the house. I said, what's the first? The family. And I said, Chase, listen, this is the thing. You wouldn't cancel your auto insurance and go look around to think about which is the best plan, because you'd be worried about, what if you got in a car accident and it happened to be your fault and you weren't paying attention and somebody died and your family loses everything. Like, you lose everything. You have no insurance to protect you, right? So you wouldn't do that. You would shop from a position of strength, or you would think about it from a position of strength. And the same thing with homeowners insurance. And it's actually legal to do that, right? But the thing is this, you've got these other two protected that are least important, but the most important thing is left unprotected. So Chase, I'm sure you'd agree that it makes sense to put the protection in place where the priority is at the highest. This is priority number one. Wouldn't that make sense for you and the family? And I do this. And sometimes, and I'm not kidding, like after all that, they're like, yeah, you know what, you're right. You're right. Now what if they give it to me again? I got one more. I got one more for you. So they say, no, you know, just listen. I said, listen, Chase, dude, I understand. And let me just draw it out for you this way. Okay? Because again, this doesn't make a difference to me. Like, I care about you. Like, I got to leave and go to bed at night knowing that if something happens. And by the way, we're not even able to qualify quite yet. So let me just draw this out for you, because I do understand. And I just want to put this in a context for you this way. Let's just say you're at the movie theaters. You go into the movie theaters. I draw this out. I'll put this on there for you guys too. You go to the movie theaters. You walk in, and your seat's in the very front row. The exit, by the way, is right by the front seats, by the TV screen. It's right in the front. The exit is. I draw that out. Now, so you walk in the movie theater. On the left-hand side, you pass your barber. Oh, what's up? What's up, Billy? There's Billy the barber. He's right there. You say hi to him. And then on the right side, you see your dentist, your doctor. Like, what's up, man? Good to see you guys. How you doing? You say hi. You keep walking. You see your gardener, right? There's Mark. Your gardener's over there. You keep walking down. You see Betty the grocer. Oh, there's Betty the grocer's right there, you know. And you keep going, and then, oh, it's Ron, the DirecTV guy, the guy that hooked me up with my TV. There's Ron sitting right there. You see all those guys. You pass them all. You sit in the front row with your family, your wife, and all your kids. A fire busts out in the back of the movie theater, the very back. Let me ask you this, Chase. Would you get up out of your seat and go get Billy the barber and then take him out? Would you go all the way back and grab the dentist and doctor and take them out? Would you go get Mark the gardener? Would you go get the grocer? Would you go get the TV guy? And then at the end of getting them all to safety, would you then stop and say, now let me get my wife and kids out and hope that they didn't burn to death? Or would you get your family and get the heck out of there? So Chase, looking at your budget and how everything's set up right now, it shows that you're taking care of everybody before you're taking care of the most important thing, the family that you would get out of that movie theater right away. And so I'm sure you'd agree it makes sense to make sure that they've got protection first and foremost, and then fit everything else around that and have that priority number one. Wouldn't you agree? And I do that. Now, if they don't, that's it. Usually by then they're like, hey man, you're just gonna have to go. But the thing is this, let me just put it to you this way. Most of the sale, a lot of my best clients, the clients that like referrals, multiple sales, annuities, they came on like the third or fourth or fifth time of me going back and around on the think about it. Those are like the best clients. Why is that? Because guys, a lot of times that client just wants to know like, are you going to stand up for me? Do you truly care about me? Are you going to stand up for me? And when you go through that over and over again, and you're the one getting uncomfortable, because nothing good happens when you're in your comfort zone, you got to step out of that and you got to rattle them a little bit to get them to move to make the right decision for their family. And the thing is, when it comes to closing, if you don't stay in there, because who decides when the sale's done? Most of the time, you're the one that's deciding. You're like, all right, they want to think about it. All good. Hey, Chase, here's some cards, and you bounce. Like I don't. They decide by them saying, hey, you're just gonna have to go. And it's not, being rude. They're not malice. It's just, I've gone and I've done my job. That's how you get a close ratio of 90-95%. That's how you help a ton of families. And that's how, and a lot of the times you'll get the yes on the third time you hit that think about it, or the fifth time you've hit the think about it. And so this is one of those things where you practice, drill, rehearse. All right, let's give you another one. What about, has anybody had the whole, Chase, you got one? Yeah, go ahead, man.
Sharp client, very sharp. Just, I don't sign for anything. Not signing today.
Well, that's the think about it. That's the same thing. So I mean, think about it. Sometimes will come in different packages, right? Like, I don't want to sign anything today. That's just thinking about it.
Just did not want to give a signature. Those were just
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. I would kind of overcome it the same way. I'm basically, what they're saying is like, we agree with you, but we're not willing to sign right now. So it's just kind of it's the same thing. It's like to think about it. So you might add into, so I think it makes sense to just see if we can qualify and sign it so that way they can underwrite it. I mean, so you might add that into it, but the think about it can be packaged in many different ways. You know what I mean? And typically it's either because of affordability, they don't see the value, it's not assumptive. It's one of those kind of things, right? And so that's why when you go back to the objection, you always want to relate to them first, go back to the why, and then go back to the call to action. All right. Now, the other thing is this. Let's just say the client wants to shop around. Have you guys had that? We want to shop around. I say, listen, Chase, 100%. I mean, like, I don't get people that don't. That's just me being honest with you. So I agree 100%. The good news is this, like, when you talk to like a captive salesperson, that's something that you really have to do because there's only one company. And the reality is this, everybody's biased to what they listen to and who they work for. So if they're working for that company, you should be like, I don't know about that. The good news is with me as a field underwriter, I do all that for you. I can look at the guidelines, the options, the premium cost per thousand, mortality, actuary tables, all those kind of things, and identify what's best for you. And so the good news is I've kind of helped you with that. Now, once we go through and see if we get you qualified, we'll have 30 days, Chase. If you happen to find something out there that you're like, Paul, I don't know, this is like the unicorn policy. I don't know how I found it, and I look at it, I'm like, dude, I don't know how I didn't see this after all these years and working with the largest company in the nation that finds the best carriers. We'll add it and I'll help you with that plan because I could help you with anybody. So just let me know if that takes place. But grab your driver's license and see if we get you qualified. So that's kind of how I handle that. It's no big deal. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I act like it's no big deal. And I've got you all squared away and covered. Now, if you're like, well, no, I just want to talk to, I want to look around. I said, well, Chase, do you want to just talk to a bunch of people or look at more companies? More companies? Okay. Well, let me show you a couple different options. And I might pull those up and say, do you see how this one makes the most sense? And if you had any other option, I can show you. But talking to more people, they're just going to show you this. And Chase, with all due respect, dude, I don't pretend to make you busy, but it sounds like you got quite a bit going on. Last thing you want to do is have somebody come over, go through the same process and only work for one company and try to convince you of this one company, as you can see, is not as good as the one we're looking at. And so I don't think you've got the time for that, but this is that important. So let's get you qualified for your family and I'll help you out with it. Grab your driver's license. So it's just no big deal. Does that make sense? Last one I'll give you guys is this. So at the end, have you ever had somebody say, well, we just have to look at our budget, not sure if I can afford it, we just moved in, or this just took place, we kind of got to crunch some numbers, we'll get back to you in 4 weeks. So the way I overcome that is this. I'll say, so Eddie, listen, man, I agree 100%. In fact, most clients I sit with, Eddie, they feel the same way as you. They're in the exact same situation as you are. They just moved in the house, just got the house. And so I get it. You've got a lot of things you're juggling, whether that's, the AC bill, the electricity bill, the gas bill, all this, you got all that kind of stuff. I get that. And Eddie, what I can tell you is this, with all the things that are coming in place right now, all the uncertainties of like what that bill is going to be and what that bill is going to be, the one thing that's certain that you can find certainty in is that your family is most important. That above anything else, none of that matters more than your family. And that if you don't come home tomorrow, all those other things that you're trying to juggle, all those uncertain things, they don't matter anyways because you're not here and the income's not here to take care of it. So what most clients do in your situation is they get this protection in first. They make sure this is first and foremost as priority number one, and then they fit the rest of it in. And that's what about everybody does in your situation. Do you see how that makes sense? He says yes. Say, great, man. Go grab your driver's license. We'll see if we get you qualified. And that's how you overcome that. So I don't want to go too much longer, but I hope that helps, guys, to think about an objection. I promise you, if you could just stand in there a little longer, right? If it's getting uncomfortable, man, I got that weird feeling like, man, I don't know if I could go again. Are they gonna? I don't know. Trust me. When you're passionate, it doesn't come across like pressure. And if you want to use the word pushing, maybe that's not the right word, but you can push people a lot further than you think, and them not respond like you think they would. And if you continue to push far enough, sometimes you got to get to right here to get them to say, God, you're right, and thank you for standing up for me, and they get the plan. But you don't help the family here, and you don't get paid here. So if you stand in there, it's going to make a massive difference. So guys, I hope this helps. Make it a massive week. Be strong, stay steadfast. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
What's up, guys? We are giving away $250 in lead credit once more. You commented on last week's video, which is playing right here, Power and Potential, you're automatically entered to win $250 in leads. It's that simple. So stop what you're doing right now. Go comment right now. Right down below. Comment. Enter yourself to win those leads right now. Every week we do this drawing, so if you don't get it this week, don't worry about it. There's always next week. But make sure, no matter what, you're leaving a comment. We love seeing what you guys have to say. If it's helped you, if there's things that you would like to see in future episodes, we just love to see it. So leave a comment right down below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get to who won this week. Antoine Howard, knew the insurance field, so every word of advice I'm taking, I want to model my agenda this way to set myself up for the most success. Thank you. You're welcome, Antoine. Enjoy those leads. Get in contact with Victoria. Her number is right down below here. And guys, it's just that simple. Just leave a comment. Tell us how it helped you. Tell us what you want to hear in the future. It's that simple. So leave a comment right down below. Take care, guys. We'll see you next week.